Hey there, and welcome. If you're a working parent here in the UK, what we're about to cover could literally save you thousands of pounds a year. We're going to break down the tax-free childcare scheme and really zoom in on that super important entitlement period.
Now, this whole discussion was put together for you by the experts over at My Tax Account. They wanted to help you get your head around one of the most valuable, but let's be honest, often confusing support systems out there for families. Okay, let's get into it.
So let's just start with the biggest question of all. Are you missing out? Because right now, so many families who are eligible for this are leaving money on the table. We're talking about what is basically a 25% boost on your childcare costs. Let's make sure you're not one of them.
So what even is this scheme? Honestly, it's way simpler than the name tax-free makes it sound. Just think of it as a government top-up that gets added to your childcare savings.
Here's how it works in a nutshell. You open up a special online account, and for every £8 you put into that account, the government chips in an extra £2 instantly. Yep, that's a 25% top-up on your money, all ready to go to your registered childcare provider. So, what does that actually look like over a year? Well, the top-up is capped at £500 every 3 months. That adds up to a grand total of £2,000 per child per year. And if your child is disabled, that support doubles to £4,000 a year. It's a huge help.
Okay, now for the really crucial part. Who can actually get this money? The rules are pretty specific, so let's walk through the main checklist together and see if you qualify.
So let's run through the basics. Generally, both you and your partner need to be in work. You also each have to earn over a certain minimum amount, which works out to be about £195 a week if you're over 21, but you also have to earn less than £100,000 a year each. And of course, your child has to be 11 or younger.
But hang on, here's a little detail that trips up so many people. How that income is actually calculated. Your salary from your job or the profits from your own business? Yep, that counts. But other income, like dividends, interest from savings, or rent you get from a property? Nope, that doesn't count towards meeting the minimum. That's a really crucial distinction to make.
And here is a major heads up. You can't mix and match this with certain other benefits. You cannot get tax-free childcare at the same time as universal credit or tax credits. And if you're still on one of those older childcare voucher schemes through your employer, you'll have to choose one or the other. You should always use the government's online calculator to see which option is going to leave you better off.
All right, let's get to the real heart of this thing, because it all runs on a continuous 3-month cycle. Getting this rhythm down is the absolute key to making sure those top-ups keep coming.
Think of it like a simple 3-step dance that you just repeat every quarter. First, you apply and get your approval. Then, for the next 3 months, you pay in your money and you get that sweet government top-up. And finally, this is the big one. Before that period ends, you have to reconfirm your details to kick off the whole cycle again.
I really can't say this enough. You have to reconfirm that you're still eligible every single 3 months. You'll get reminders, sure, but at the end of the day, it's on you. Seriously, go set a recurring reminder in your phone's calendar right now. Because if you miss that deadline, the government top-ups just stop instantly.
Now, the good news is, if you do have a moment and you forget, you don't lose the money that's already in there. Phew! Your account just switches to pay-only mode. You can still use your balance to pay your nursery or childminder, but you won't get any new 25% boosts until you log in and complete that reconfirmation.
Okay, so you get how it works now. Let's talk strategy. How do you actually squeeze every last drop of value out of this scheme and, just as importantly, avoid the common mistakes?
Let's look at what this means with some real-world numbers. Say your childcare bill is about £600 a month for one child. Over the course of a year, that government top-up saves you £1,440. Got 2 kids? That saving jumps to almost £3,000. That is serious money back in your family's budget.
So where are people messing up? Well, look at that chart. The biggest reason by far is just forgetting to reconfirm. It's such a simple little admin task, but it's so easy to miss. Coming in behind that are 2 other classic traps. Not checking first if your provider is actually registered for the scheme, and failing to update your details when your income goes up or down.
This is a brilliant question and one we hear all the time, especially from freelancers, contractors, and small business owners. Right? How on earth can you meet a minimum income rule every 3 months when your earnings are all over the place?
Well, here is the really clever bit of flexibility that's built right into the system. If you're self-employed, you don't need to stress about hitting that threshold every single quarter.
Instead, you can use an average of what you expect to earn over the entire tax year. This is an absolute lifesaver, and it means you can still qualify even if you have a couple of quiet months.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground here: the what, the who, and the how. So let's wrap up by talking about what to do next and where you can go if you need a bit more one-on-one guidance.
So if you remember nothing else, remember these things. 1. It's a 25% top-up. 2. You have to reconfirm every 3 months. No excuses. 3. Double-check your eligibility, especially those tricky income rules. 4. Make sure your provider is actually registered. And 5. Try to plan your payments to get the most out of it, especially for those expensive school holidays.
Look, while this system is designed to be pretty simple, we all know that our own personal situations can get complicated. If you're feeling at all unsure about your income, your eligibility, or just how to get the most out of this, getting some professional advice is always a really smart move.
The team at My Tax Accountant live and breathe this stuff, and they can give you that clarity and confidence you need. Here are their details on the screen. Feel free to reach out to them directly if you'd like some personalized help.
And that's us for today. I'll just leave you with this final thought. Now that you know exactly how this works and how much you could be saving, are you absolutely sure you're getting every single penny that you're entitled to? Thanks so much for joining me.